Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video on Alex Elite Golf. You're joining me today at Carden Park. I'm on the second hole here. It's actually a relatively short par 4, really heavily guarded by some old oak trees on the left and on the right, and we finish off with a small tight green heavily guarded by a bunker left and right. Now this is the reason why I'm talking. I'm going to show you the 3 shots you need around the greens, and yes, I said you only need 3 shots. Now why am I only saying you got 3 shots? Now a lot of the time when people come to me for a chipping lesson or search chipping shots, they want the big extravagant ones and they sometimes get lost in actually the simple shot. And if we could actually have 3 shots that we stick to and not get lost in so much choice, then we're going to be a better player, we're going to get it up and down more, and we're definitely going to lower our scores. The biggest stat that we look at, if we can start to get up and down more, we start to lower our scores, and ultimately, if we're confident in our short game, we worry less about the rest of our game. We won't worry about missing greens. So let's get straight into it. And I'm going to show you the 3 shots you need to lower your scores out on the golf course. If you're new to the channel, guys, don't forget to subscribe and also give all this. So what are the 3 clubs that we need? Now, when we're playing golf, we really need one, an aerial shot. We need one that's a medium, so a little bit of air, a little bit of roll out. And then we need finally one that rolls out more than it's in the air. So we're going to classify these as 3 different shots. And the 3 different clubs that I'm going to use are my 58, then my 50, and then my 9-iron. So you can see there I've got my higher lofted one, which has less rollout. I've got my medium lofted one with 50-50 rollout, so 50 in the air, 50% rollout. And finally, my one that's 25% in the air, 75% rollout, to really give me the 3 shots that I need around the greens. And straight away, I've got my go-to club, my go-to shot for every scenario that I'm going to face. So before we go ahead and hit this shot, I want you to comment down below, currently, what's your favourite club to chip with, and what are the other 2 clubs that you might chip with out on the golf course. Straight away, I've got my 3 go-tos, my 9-iron, my 50, and my 58, to give me those 3 shots of variation. And having 3 variation shots is pretty much all we need. So let's get straight into the first shot we're going to play. We're going to play the one that rolls out more than it's in the air, and my chosen club for this is 9-iron. So why 9-iron? One, I've got a little bit of ground to lift the ball over. I can then pitch it 1 to 2 yards on and allow it to run out all the way to the target. Some people prefer 8-iron, some people prefer pitching wedge. I like 9-iron because it gets that halfway middle ground. A little bit of loft to get it in the air, but going to really get it rolling out very easily towards the target. So how would I play this? Really nice and simple. I call it the thumbs down shot. So throughout these shots, we want to feel that we're going to pose with the thumbs down on the way through, and we're going to feel that same feeling throughout the backswing as well. So we're going to place that golf club down behind the golf ball. We're going to look for a ball position which favours the right half of our stance. Now, favouring the right half of our stance will get us hitting down the golf ball and also allow us to get a little bit of forward shaft lean. Now, this is probably the only shot that I would encourage you to get a little bit of forward shaft lean, because we are wanting that ball to roll out somewhat. So ball favouring a little bit towards the back of our stance, hands just on the golf ball, so a little bit of forward shaft lean. Pull the left foot back and make sure the weight is just favouring the left side, 60-40. Keeping that weight there, all I want you to feel now is that we have the thumbs down throughout the backswing, thumbs down throughout the way through. A lot of the time people go wrong with this shot and fear it firing off is we see something like this fishtail. We see too many levers try to be created. So as soon as we get this fishtail, these hands start to get ahead of the golf ball a little bit. We reduce that loft, we get the ball firing off, and before we know it, we're over the back of the green and we think, oh, well, I made myself a harder shot here. So really nice and simple. If we get that feeling of thumbs down to thumbs down, we don't see the fishtail, we don't reduce the loft, we get the shot that we intend to do. And if we think of that in its simplest form, whatever loft I start with at address, if I took a screenshot now from face on, could we feel that we keep the same position at address and as an impact? Because if we have, we've not changed the loft, we've not taken away loft, and we've not added loft. So we then start to get the same repeated height. So let's hit this one away. So my feeling is come back to the same position I started. Thumbs down, thumbs down. Really looking for this ball just to loft a little bit and roll out as our first shot that we really need around the greens. Really nice shot. Now, that shot, all I was looking to do there is land it 2 to 3 yards on and let it roll out like a putt. Remember the key points to that first shot though. We don't want to see this fishtail. we're going to feel like we keep thumbs down to thumbs down, because if we see the fishtail, that's where I think you guys will fear that ball firing off. Remember, if we take that loft away, we're going to tend to get that ball go a little bit further. So really nice simple thoughts, thumb down to thumb down. Or another thought that will really help you is, can I come back to the same position I started? Let's get on to shot number 2. And shot number 2 is the 50-50 shot. So I mean 50% of the ball in the air, 50% roll out. So it's almost going to be where we've got to go over a little obstacle, whether it be rough or a bunker, but we've still got a little bit of room between the fringe and the flag. Let's get straight into the second scenario with the 50-degree wedge and the 50% in the air and 50% roll out. There's a lot of 50s there. Let's get straight into the shot. The 50-50 shot, so 50% in the air, 50% roll out. Now, why have I chosen to use this scenario here? So, short left here on the second of the Nicholas course at Carden Park. There's a little bit of a ridge to go over, and then quite a lot of room between that ridge and the flag. So, I need a little bit of loft to lift it over that ridge, but then I've got roughly about 50% of that room between the ridge and the flag to allow that ball to roll out. So that is the reason why I want the half shot in the air, half shot roll out. So you can see here I've got one that rolls out more, now one that's half and half, and then you guess what the final one is. That's when we hit the bit of the higher one. So again, a very similar setup to the first shot. Placing the club down behind the golf ball, making sure my ball position just favours to the right half of my stance. I would always want to see it a little bit further forward than right at the back, but just right of centre. From this position here, I want to feel the hands are on the golf ball. We want to shuffle in a little bit closer so we feel like our toes interaction with the ground slightly. From this position here, I want you to really make sure you keep your shoulders parallel, but pull the left foot back and then favour that weight onto that left hand side. Same feeling as before, thumbs down, thumbs down. I want you to pose that finish. So we're really going to feel that we pose that finish, and we're looking to picture a 50% shot in the air, 50% roll out. So the half and half shot. Let's hit this one away. Halfway in the air, halfway roll out, and that really gives you a good perspective of what you want the ball to do. So straight away we've got two scenarios. The one where we want the ball to roll out more, the second one where we want the ball to go half in the air and half roll out. So we've got two options now, and we've got two go-to shots. Let's head over to the final go-to shot. The final shot we need in this scenario is that one that's a little bit more in the air than it does roll out. And this is a prime example, short-sided on the right here on the second at the Nicholas course. Very little green between myself and the flag, and very little room to roll this ball out. So how can we combat roll out? We need a steeper angle of descent. We need to get this ball up quicker and really allow this ball to stop as quick as we can. Now the expression you hear is landing like a butterfly with sore feet. Really allowing ourselves to get this ball up into the air. Now, what can we do in terms of setup and how we execute the shot to do this? Now, I would really like to feel that this shot becomes a little bit more of a free-flowing shot. And the points I would like you to concentrate on is really feeling as though we point the loft back at us through the shot. We're not looking for our thumbs down shot. We're really now looking for a little bit more of flair, a little bit more of a go-to shot. And this go-to shot is one that I wouldn't use as much as the other two. The other two become a little bit more of our standard ones. This is one that we really need around the greens to get us out of trouble. And like I say, we may only play this probably 3 or 4 times every 10 rounds, or depending on how tough your golf course is, maybe a little bit more frequent than that. So how do we play it? Because we certainly need to know how to play it if we're going to play our best golf out on the golf course. So we're going to place the golf club down behind the ball. We're going to allow that club to open a little bit. We're then going to take the grip of the golf club. So relative to you, the club face is a little bit open, but you've still got your neutral grip. Placing that golf club down behind the golf ball, I'm going to take a slightly wider stance with a ball position that's in the middle of my stance. From this position here, I want to feel as though I sit down a little bit, so I've got a little bit more knee flex. This is going to really allow me to be a little bit shallower into the back of the golf ball and lowering my centre of gravity. And the only feeling I want you to stick to here is keep the loft through on, point the loft back at you. Keep the loft throughout, putting the loft back at you. So it's very similar to our bunker shot. So let's play this one away. High tariff shot, but one we certainly need, especially in this scenario. Sit. Now, really high tariff shot there, and because it's so far downhill, even pitching that short of the flag, the ball has rolled on 5 or 6 feet past. Now, one thing I would do with this shot is measure expectations, because it is a high tariff shot. So we've got our 3 scenarios. We've got our one that rolls out more, one that rolls out half and half in the air, and the final one that is more in the air then it rolls out. Now, having these 3 scenarios, we don't have to be as extravagant with that final one and getting it too much in the air. We could just opt to use our most lofted club, which would give us the highest trajectory potentially. But what I would say is we need to have that in our locker to play some good golf, because we're going to have scenarios where, like there, I played a really nice high tariff shot with a little rollout, but it's still gone past the flag. So having that in our repertoire of shots and in our toolbox will really give us some good options around the greens. So there we have it. We've talked through the 3 different scenarios. Remember, scenario 1, the ball rolls out more. Scenario 2, half in the air, half roll out. And the final one, which we can see here is rolled a few feet past, is that one where we hit it a little bit more in the air. And I really want to reiterate, measure our expectations on that final one. It's not an easy shot, we don't play it a lot, but we definitely need it in our short game toolbox. Now, it doesn't have to be as high tariff, so as much pointing the loft back at you. We could play it very much the same way we played the second shot, but just adjust the club. So that's going to give us a little bit of a higher trajectory and less rollout. But just knowing that if we need to hit that high one, when sometimes we have to, like in this scenario where we've got a little bit of a downhill and not a lot of distance between the fringe and the flag, we need to be able to play that shot. So we need to know the simple rules of ball in the middle of our stance, lower our centre of gravity, and point the loft back at us. So there you have it, guys. Thank you for watching today's video on Alex Elliott Golf, the 3 shots you need around the greens to lower your scores this summer. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification button, and see you next time on Alex Elliott Golf.